Christianic CYInterview covering Las Vegas and the world. We're here at the Rio All Suite Hotel and Casino, and we're going to revisit another CYInterview today. This time it's going to be a revisit with Apple co-founder Steve Wozniak, who was on Dancing with the Stars more than a decade ago. And here is our CYInterview with the great Steve Wozniak, Mr. Woz himself.
This is Christianic, and you're on CYInterview.com, where we have brought you over 1,000 of the best and brightest names in news, sports, and entertainment. With me today, he is most responsible for his contributions to the personal computer, but over the last month, you got a chance to see him on the ABC hit show Dancing with the Stars. Apple co-founder Steve Wozniak, thank you so much for joining me today. How you doing?
Oh, great. It's a great pleasure to be here. I'm back in L.A. again. I kind of live in L.A. for that TV show because I was so hectic. I didn't want to miss a day of training. And now I fell in love with it so much that I want to get back every Monday and Tuesday and watch the show live.
Wow, well, you made your debut on this reality show last year with Kathy Griffin, and I never thought I would see you on Dancing with the Stars, but I have to say, what did you learn about yourself from this whole entire experience?
I learned a lot that, it's something everybody learns in life occasionally, that, when you're kind of forced into the water and you have to swim. This is what I did. I had never watched dancing. I had never watched the show. I didn't know what dancing was. I don't know how to do dancing. So when I agreed to do this, and it took a lot of pressure to get me to say okay, but there were some good reasons behind it. It was taking people who've never danced and teaching them and, having a good time and a lot of fun, and it wasn't anything to be embarrassed about. So then I jumped in and, wow, I found out, my God, this is not my thing. I can't look at somebody do a step and then copy it the way young kids that I've taught in the past could do. So, boy, it was very scary at first, and then I got to the point that, oh my gosh, I can actually get through a whole bunch of little steps that nobody like me has ever learned in their life, has never done, and I just got overjoyed. It was so wonderful to be able to float myself around a stage and do a bunch of little things, and then you had to work on getting it perfect and not making a single mistake, and I just love it so much. Totally happy about it. Maybe
we can all learn something from you in the sense that it's important to go outside your comfort zone, not be afraid, and try new things, maybe.
Right. You said it. Overcome the fears and do something, do something you work at hard, and you're not really good at. And and the support of friends is very important. On this show, fan support and fan votes helps. But, and positive attitude. Don't look at it like, oh, I can fail or I can succeed. Look at it like, this is a great adventure, a great time in life, and it's only positive.
Did your friend Kathy Griffin have any influence on you doing this show?
No, Kathy had no influence on it at all. She was, very gracious and, welcomed me to it. I frankly hope you never see me on TV again. I mean, I don't want notoriety. I'm sitting in the audiences live, and I have them position me so I won't be on camera because I want to enjoy it. But, I mean, I don't really, and after this, what would you do? I don't know how I got on either one of those shows. Just amazing accidents, and I'm one of the luckiest people in the world.
So how do you then feel about your whole newfound celebrity since you have been introduced to a whole new audience? I'm guessing now if you walk down the street, more people are going to recognize you.
Almost everywhere I walked, people would come up and say, oh, my gosh, thank you for the Apple computer. Some would walk up and say, thank you for the US Festival I attended in 1982, a big music festival I put on. Some would say, oh, I saw you on Kathy Griffin's show, and they love me. And now a lot of people come up, oh, we really loved you with your positive attitude, we voted for you, you were so happy. And so it's just a new addition. And I'm used to it, and it's always polite. It's nice to talk to people and share stories and share, my feelings about it and my opinions, and I don't hold back.
This show has given people other career opportunities. So here's the point. You say, well, I'm probably not going to do television again, but let's just play the game here. Let's say you were offered a chance to do some other kind of television project or maybe some other entertainment project. Would you be interested?
They'd have to have a really good reason. In other words, I'm not interested off the bat, and I mean, it would have to be like the show means something to people, something good. Like this show can tell other people, maybe you sit at your computer all day long in a chair, and you know what? You missed the chance to find out if you got up and just took some ballroom dance lessons. You might actually have a lot of fun. Even if you're lousy at it, you can have fun. So, if there was a show that somehow brought that sort of thing to people, I would do whatever I could to help the show. Let's put it that way. I would like to go back to my normal, quiet, almost recluse life.
Maybe you're hoping that fellow, computer experts, geeks, nerds, whatever you want to call them, the polite comment to say is that maybe they need to go outside their comfort zone as well, and maybe that's what you were trying to show them.
That's right. And, I had a spine injury about 5 years ago, and I haven't exercised since then. I used to run a lot, a huge amount, and so I got into, pretty low exercise shape, and was so fun to be exercising again, 6 hours a day, dripping sweat. And it's just a fun thing, and I hope other people, through my joy, my happiness, they can discover that, maybe this is something worth doing.
How much weight did you lose?
I don't weigh myself. I just but I noticed that clothes don't fit. I went down 5.5 notches on my belt. Last night was difficult because I went back to the show and I haven't bought a new, smaller suit, so my suit is about 5 inches too big, and my belt is 1 inch too short. It's on its last notch, so my pants kept falling down last night. As a matter of fact, during one of the dress rehearsals, it was a couple weeks ago for the tango, in the dress rehearsal, 5 times my pants were falling down. They saw my underwear, and I'd pull them up, and I didn't miss a single step with my feet. I got through the whole dance, but very funny. But you don't see the dress rehearsal. You only see the real thing.
Well, I know that you had some injuries to your foot, and you had some other injuries during the show, so I have to say, how are you recovering? What's the diagnosis now for your health?
The body heals. I'm recovering. I still have pain in my leg where the hamstring was. I have pain when I'm sleeping. I have pain when I'm sitting. But I'm not limping anymore. I got over the limping. As a matter of fact, I went on and had to do a show, and the night before, Sunday night, and I had to skip 2 days of practice. So my partner and I only got 1.5 days of practice that week, even though the host came on and told the television audience everyone had an even playing field with 5 days of practice. We didn't. And we choreographed the dance around steps where my right leg stayed in front of my left leg because that minimized my pain. And it was kind of a weak dance. We got the lowest score in 6 years, but I was able to do it. But boy, I'll tell you, if you watched me walk out to the car, oh my God, limp, 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 limp. And ouch, on my face would go into, I would just wince at the pain. It was so bad. But we managed to do a dance. It's kind of like I couldn't walk, but I could dance.
Well, speaking of your dance partner, Karina Smirnoff, did you ever think that this experience would bring you this close friendship that now, according to what the press says, you're going to be walking her down the aisle at her wedding?
I hoped when we first met that we'd become good friends, but she was really enamored with my kind of quirky intelligence, both fake and real, and my little playfulness and my jokes and my unusualness, and she was open to that. She's a very creative person. One of the other dancers that dances with Steve-O, Lacey Schwimmer, she's like the same way too, and I was just so lucky to be paired with somebody that I was so compatible with, and we would just amuse each other with little jokes and pranks and tricks, and so yeah, I hope to walk her down the aisle. I mean, I went out to dinner last night with her and Max and her fiance, and what an incredible pair of people. Max is really into scientific and mathematical type things, and I have a lot of little unusual things. So
yes.
So we have a lot of fun joking over these things that are very unusual to know and hard to understand.
Sometimes you find the right people in the places that you'd never expect them to be, I guess, correct?
I always thought, the greatest friends I would ever have were all my tech friends that wanted to talk technology and this product and that product, and I found out now, oh my God, every single one of the celebrity dancers, every one of the professional dancers, all the people that worked on the show were the most unbelievably nice people you could ever run into in your life, and everyone was a true friend and, not holding back, and every one of them wonderful people. Don't go in with preconceptions. I hadn't watched the show. I didn't know. I don't follow celebrities, so I didn't know a single one of them on here. Didn't really know who they were.
Really?
So I came in like blank, which is good. I mean, I don't have the preconceptions, and I judge them for who they are and how we meet with our eyes and talk to each other. Every single one became such an incredible friend that even a couple weeks before I got kicked off, I had to handwrite. Like, I didn't want to do it on a computer. I wanted it to be real personal from me. Handwrite them 1-page, 2-page letters, just telling them what I saw in them that was so good for me and for the world and what they were. And it was just one of the most incredible times in my life.
So what do you think you gave to the cast?
Oh, I think I gave the cast lots of laughter, fun, good feelings, and just, the thing that, a really good, friendly person can have. I think some of them will remember me for a while. I mean, I would love to remember and stay friends and stay in contact with every single person on the show, But so far, I don't have that many of their email addresses and phone numbers. I go back to the shows and I see them, and oh my gosh, I get to go up and hug each one of them, the dancers and the professionals and the celebrities. They're such good friends now. I mean, we become such a tight community because we're all in this thing at the start. We are scared if we can even do it. Every one of us is scared whether we're going to totally screw up, and then so we cling together for support. And then that support maintains itself once you sort of figure out that you've got this dancing thing down a bit.
Well, I have to say now you had some positive and negative reflections about the judging system and the scoring system. So here's the point, Steve. This is your chance. What are your final reflections on it?
My final reflections on it are I trust it very much. There's at least a lot of the aspects of it are extremely honest. They might have a weird case where a celebrity says, I have to be taken off the show or I'm not coming back. And maybe they'll make sure that's the one that gets taken off. But aside from a rare case that anyone could understand, they have very good voting and safeguards in place as far as I can see. So I can't deny that. I mean, if I didn't get left on the show, I didn't have as many fans as a movie star maybe.
In the last 5 to 6 years, we have seen technology go and continue to make so many amazing strides. What do you think is ahead?
I get asked that all the time, and it's hard to comment on. I mean, I really am following a few areas. I'm following always faster processors, faster computers. What do you mean? Every time the computer gets faster, it doesn't seem to work any faster. Well, someday we're going to crack a barrier, maybe a few orders of magnitude faster than today. The computer's we're going to be able to really understand artificial intelligence, how to build something that is like a human brain, that actually has to learn the world, learn how to speak in another language, learn how to walk as a robot. Maybe we'll build things like that. And as a teacher, if the computer were a teacher to me, instead of presenting one problem after another in some funny little animations, it'll actually be a human being talking to me, noticing my facial expressions, noticing when I need a slight break, noticing when I'm kind of guessing at an answer, like a real human teacher. Looking for that. I'm also looking towards the 3D displays where you don't have to wear special glasses. You buy a computer, and it works just like today's computer, but it can also run some software and be 3D with very little additional cost. Steps are being taken to get closer to that. Our computers may not have this whole shutdown, go-to-sleep issue that they've had if the new technologies of memory that's basically like today's computer memory, it won't hold its data if you stop giving it power. So your computer has to go into a special sleep mode and save everything that was in memory and bring it back. That can go away because there's two new memory technologies. Either one of these might become viable. One is called magnetic memories, and one's called memristors from Hewlett-Packard. And in both of them, you shut your computer down, you open it up, it's still on right where it was and took no power at all. Kind of like flash RAM. So, I like to follow a lot of these different technologies that, they start kind of at the atomic level, the low-level chip technology, and will they make it all the way into products that change our life?
And on the list of the things that you still want to accomplish in your life, as far as maybe an inventor or creator, I'm sure you're probably always thinking about things.
Well, let's see. The only goal I can really think of, specific goal, is I want to get 750,000 points on the original Game Boy Tetris someday. And it sounds funny, but it's actually a goal that will stick with me for my entire life, and I'll probably never do it. Other goals.
Is there any other inventions you'd like to create, or any ideas or things that you think that society could benefit from? Maybe.
I am serving on advisory boards and boards of a few technology companies, and I actually have an official salaried role in one company that's doing some incredible speed up your server with flash RAMs instead of hard disks type of technology, and it's Fusion IO. And I'm their chief scientist. But mainly, my big thing in life is to find youngsters, high school, college kids, just out of college, that have ideas for products and want to be entrepreneurs and want to take a risk and a challenge and go out there with almost no money and find the way to do it. And, I try to give them the formulas that worked for me in starting Apple.
Looking at this current economic recession, what do you say to people who are down on their luck?
All my life, I felt the sorriest for people that are kind of down on their luck compared to the people who have a lot of money and power, wealth, And, I mean, it almost sounds a little bit heretical and a little bit kind of communist, to feel that, God, society should have a way to guarantee us jobs. When I worked at Hewlett-Packard in 1973, slightly before Apple, we had a recession. And Hewlett-Packard, instead of laying off 10% of the employees, cut back everyone's salary and work hours by 10%. So every other Friday, you got an extra Friday off. You had a 3-day weekend, which was kind of nice for a young engineer. And there was a lot of people opposed that, but that you didn't put one person out on the street without a job, with a family to support, with rent to pay. And it just bothers me that so many people are, get put into that horrible situation in life. And then even the companies that are doing well in a recession take it as, this is our opportunity to kind of clean up a bit, and that's healthy. It's healthy for the companies to clean up but get rid of sort of the lower employees. And it treats a company less as a family. And to me, I think some of the great products, the innovation, the thinking, wanting to do good things in life, partly becomes you're happy with your family.
Have you thought about some ways right now, maybe how you could invest your time, your money to help the economy in your own way, maybe people down on your luck? Have you ever thought about that?
Oh, I've had a whole lifetime of doing that. I felt like it from the first time I ever had any money, and I didn't want the money. I just wanted to be in the middle. So I did my best to just constantly give to even individuals, give them, here, I'll pay for some college for you for a few years. Here, I'll give you a computer, just over and over, hundreds of times. And I always said the way you pay me back is when you're in a position to be able to, you do that for someone, you help someone else. And the movie came out called Pay It Forward, and everyone said, oh my God, Woz, that's you. And that's exactly how I lived. But really, I was just too shy to ever have somebody break off a friendship because they felt that they weren't able to pay me back money they owed me. I never wanted to be in that position. The most embarrassing thing for me ever in life would have been to have somebody say, Wozniak screwed us over money. I would never, ever be able to live myself down for that. So I pretty much, gave my money, my big money away to museums in San Jose and arts groups and individuals and things like that. And so I don't have the huge big bucks that people think I do.
In the story in your book, you talk about how you taught in your son's school a computer class for 10 years, and it was some of the happiest times in your life. And maybe that's the example that, these experiences you share with people are more important than, the fact of being worth billions of dollars.
Well, more importantly than that, after you have a success like Apple Computer, and you have a ton of money, you change your life, you become a different person, you become kind of an investor, you're always watching over your money and trying to increase it. I decided instead, no, I want to be the Steve Wozniak that I would have been from the day I was in 6th grade. What were my values in life? Well, I went back to college under a fake name, and I got my college diploma. Nobody else in personal computers did that. And the diploma actually says the fake name I used, which was Rocky Raccoon Clark.
Yeah.
That's my Berkeley degree. I also taught the school. I had wanted to teach school my whole life. I taught for 8 years, and it was the most fun thing I ever did, I have to say, until Dancing with the Stars.
Well, there you go then.
But it was, and it was so incredible. You do so much more as a teacher. I respect teachers so much today, and even the professional dancers on Dancing with the Stars, they are so good, at teaching something to newcomers that I just praise them all.
When you look back at all your contributions you made to the personal computer become what it is today for so many, I know you probably are asked this a lot, but what do you think about?
I tend not to go think about that. You get a lot of accolades and awards. The important thing is that I did a lot of good things, and I know why they were good at the time I did them. I didn't do them for the purpose of getting awards, of fame, of money, or anything like that. But it's like one time I was at an event and they said, oh, you forgot your medal for the National Inventors Hall of Fame or something like that. Well, I said, well, it's not important to bring your medal and wear it. It's just important that you have it. And then I thought, no, it's not even important that you have it. What's important is what you did to earn it, the good things you've done in your life. And so those are mostly memories even. I don't care what other people say, talk about, what the history books say, what the blogs and the news shows like this say. I mean, I just know all these little steps that I did and why they were, so good for me and for other people, and how my thinking just happened to be in the right place.
So in reality, going forward, you're most likely going to be back into kind of a more low-profile life, and we won't be seeing you on these huge other entertainment programs and all over the place. Am I right?
What could you ever do that's a step forward from Kathy Griffin's Emmy award-winning reality TV show and from Dancing with the Stars? What's bigger? It's kind of like I stumbled into a couple of the greatest things, and why would I want to go do something dinky? I'd rather live my life.
In closing, Steve Wozniak, thank you so much for your time today. I have to say, in closing, what do you think, looking forward at this world, where we are and what you've accomplished and where we are right now, again, with this current economic recession, what do you hope for the country as we're going forward and these businesses that represent these thousands of employees?
The current economic state, not the recession, the state of our government does frighten me a bit, that there's going to be a lot worse times ahead for the next generations in this country. But then, when I see people like Karina and Max, my dance partner and her boyfriend getting married, I just think, those people are so good. They make the world a better place, the earth a better place, and humans will always go forward.
Steve, thank you for your time today.
Okay, thanks very much.